All right, we are on absolute value equations this time. And so a couple things I need to go over with you guys is that absolute value, let's go and change colors for this definition here. Let's make it green. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. And I understand you guys can't see that. Absolute value is the distance the number is from 0. So, having said that, what type of number is an absolute value always? Andres? No, it's not 0. It's the distance from 0, so it's going to be... Aaron? What type of number is it going to be? Aaron? Positive. Okay? So it's always positive, right? If I walk 4 steps towards Joshua, and then I walk 4 steps back from Joshua, how many steps did I take? 8, right? Because I went positive 4 and then positive 4 in the reverse direction. If you ever watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, yeah. Right? The Ferrari, they're trying to run it in reverse because the dad is really OCD and he can tell how many miles have been put on the Ferrari. And so they try to run it in reverse to turn the odometer backwards. It didn't work because distance is always positive. All right? So hopefully that helps you remember. I don't know if it does or not. So if I give you an example here, if I say, what is the absolute value? Now, the bars mean absolute value. What is the absolute value of 4? 4, duh, right? We know that. Now, what's the absolute value of, actually, hang on. Do it to the side here. What's the absolute value of negative 4? Who can raise their hand and let us know? Jessica? It is 4 also. Notice how these are both positive, right? But on the inside, this was positive and this was negative. Okay? So which one is changing? The inside or the outside? Jared? The inside. So when we deal with an absolute value equation, and hopefully you guys have seen this in Algebra 1 too, we're going to do it possibly a little differently than what you guys are used to seeing. But if I give you an absolute value equation of, say, like number 26 from your homework, absolute value of x plus 6 equals 18, and I'm going to make this a little bigger here. Notice how there was a positive version of 4 and there was a negative version of 4, and yet they both output a positive 4, right? Well, here there's a negative version of this problem, and there is a positive version of this problem. The negative version of this problem is the inside changes from negative, so it's negative quantity, x plus 6 equals 18. The positive version is positive x plus 6 equals 18. Now, when things are positive, do we really need the positive symbol there? Absolutely not. So that thing can actually go away. We don't need that. From here, the negative version you can do a couple of different ways. You can either distribute the negative in and then solve normally, or you can multiply both sides by negative 1. That's what I tend to do. So I get x plus 6 equals negative 18. And then we solve each answer individually. So how many answers are we going to get for absolute value? 2. So, subtracting 6 from both sides, x equals negative 24, and that is one of our answers. The other one is x plus 6 equals 18, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. X equals 18 minus 6 is 12. So your two answers are negative 24 and 12. Now, raise your hands if you learned that the negative case was this thing being negative right from the bat. Okay, it's not wrong, but we're going to do it this way in this class. Okay, and it's something that you will understand when you get to calculus. Okay, that you have to change the inside of the absolute value. All right, so I will let your calculus teachers handle that. Okay, as with all problems, all they can do to make it harder for you is to throw on another layer of stuff for you to do. Now, please do not, under any circumstance, distribute that 3 into the absolute value sign. Okay? Please divide it. You cannot distribute beyond or over an absolute value. So please do not make that the absolute value of 3x plus 18. Do not do that. So you get the absolute value of x plus 6 equals 36 divided by 3 is 12. From here, does 28 now look like 26? Does it kind of look like the same problem? Yeah, so actually, it almost looks exactly the same. We got the negative version, the positive version. The negative is negative parentheses x plus 6 equals 12. And the positive version is x plus 6 equals 12. Multiply both sides by negative 1 here. X plus 6 equals negative 12. We can do the rest in our head. X equals negative 18. And we're done with that side. X equals 6 on the right. And those are our two answers. Yeah? Justin? No, not until we get to inequalities, which is tomorrow. Okay. Good question. How you guys doing? Good? Okay. I'm going to give you guys one to do on your own. Each one has two answers most of the time. We'll get to the special case in just a second. Okay, I want you guys to take on number 36 on your own. 5 times the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 45. Let me go and pause real quick while you guys are working. All right. Amol, what's the first move?
The first move is to divide the sides by 5.
Absolutely divide both sides by 5. Absolute value of x plus 4 equals, I was going to say 15. It's 9. My bad. We all make mistakes. Negative version, positive version, negative. Parentheses, x plus 4 equals 9. And then x plus 4 equals 9. Multiply both sides by negative 1. So that is x plus 4 equals negative 9. X equals negative what? Better be negative 13, right? Doubly unlucky. X equals 5. Raise your hands if you got negative 13 and 5 as your answers. Good job. Very good. All right, let's go into some special little deals here. What happens when you have absolute value, abs val, plus variables on both sides? Let's find out what happens. Whoa, that was not supposed to happen. Okay, so if I look at this problem here, 3 times the quantity, times the absolute value of x plus 6 equals 9x minus 6. First thing I'm going to do exactly what we've been doing. I'm going to divide everything by 3. Now I've got two things here on the right side, so I'm dividing everything by 3, which means I can divide the individual parts by 3. Raise your hands if that makes sense to you, what I've done. Okay, good, because that took me a while when I was your age. Okay, it reduced it, but I still got variables on both sides, right? Well, I'm going to go ahead and make the negative and positive cases. So negative, x plus 6 equals 3x minus 2. Sorry, get rid of that. And then my positive version is going to be x plus 6 equals 3x minus 2. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and distribute this time, just to vary things up. Variety being the spice of life. I'm going to go ahead and do some algebra here. I'm going to add x to both sides. So I've got 4x, and I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides as well. So I've got 4x equals negative 4. On my left, my negative case, x equals what? Negative 1. Okay, save that answer. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides here. I'm also going to add 2 to both sides. So I get 4x equals, I'm sorry, not 4x. What am I doing? 2x equals 8. Therefore, x equals 4. Okay, I've got two answers, right? 4 and negative 1. But let me go ahead and check, because we've never dealt with a variable on the outside of the absolute value before, right? So let's just see. And whenever you solve an equation, it's always good to just go back and check and make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and plug -1 in there. Change colors for the check. So I've got 3 times, see, one of our answers was -1. -1 plus 6 equals 9 times -1 minus 6, yeah? So what is this thing here? It's 5. 3 times 5 is 15. What's 1 times, I'm sorry, 9 times -1? -9. -9 minus 6 is -15. Do these answers match? No. Does -1 work as a solution? It does not. So this thing is out of here. I want you guys to check 4 and tell me if it works. Brian? No. No, it doesn't work, or? It does work. Yes, it should work. 4 should work. So in this case, 4 is your only answer. Does that make sense? So when you have an absolute value with a variable on the other side, what do you need to do when you're done? You need to check both solutions to make sure that they work. So sometimes both of them work, sometimes one of them works, sometimes neither of them work, and you will encounter that in your homework tonight. Questions on absolute value so far? Good? All right. Delete this garbage here. Oh no. What the heck? Okay. It did it anyways. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's take care of the last case here. Ah, darn. First thing in any absolute value equation is to get the absolute value bars by themselves. So, how am I going to get the absolute value bars by themselves this time? How about Paul? How do I get the absolute value bars by themselves? Got to get rid of that 7, right? You got to subtract 7. So we got absolute value of x minus 3 equals -5. Who can raise their hand and tell us, what do I do next? Max? Why not? Absolute value is always positive. Wait, I thought if we ran the Ferrari in reverse, it would, you know. No, it doesn't. Okay, so this is no solution. Okay, so anytime you get an absolute value bar all by itself, and then it equals a negative number, that is no solution. Now, let me give you guys another random example here. If I say -3 times, say, x plus 4 equals -21, is this no solution? It is not, because what do we need to do first? Divide by -3, and that is going to give us absolute value of x plus 4 equals +7. Therefore, there is a solution. In fact, there might even be 2 of them. In fact, there will be 2 of them. Any questions on this? Anything at all? Okay, sounds good. All right, we're done.